Welcome to episode 7 of the Hockey Hour. We have a huge show for you. We have an international guest, Jace Gabriel, here with you as always, and alongside me, the former Hockey-roo, Jane Claxton. Jane, huge show, isn't it?
Yeah, an exciting show. I am starstruck that we've managed to get this level of caliber of coach to be interviewed on the Hockey Hour. So it's exciting.
I know, and we'll stay tuned because we'll get to the coach. We won't give it away just yet. And I know people can probably jump to it. That's fine. Hopefully you can catch the rest of the show as well. But brilliant show last week. Got some good comments on Lizzie Dugout's post or even
some huge
Mailbag.
fans out there.
Yes, big fans of Lizzie. So creating more chat about the show and things we're doing. So thank you all for tuning in. Of course, mate, give us a follow, a like, a thumbs up, whatever it is on wherever you're watching the show. This week we'll have obviously our coach in the dugout. We'll have our Stiles Electrical player interview. We'll have another little extra time question or hypothetical this week. But let's get straight into the news, Jane. Of course, plenty happening in hockey in WA, but also obviously across the nation as well. But a big one, the Perth Hockey Stadium has been given the green light for the $135 million redevelopment.
Yeah.
How exciting.
Yeah, I'm a part of the arts committee, so we're checking the art at the stadium.
I see.
I'm so artistic. Yeah.
What qualifications or experience did you
I played hockey.
All right. Okay, gotcha.
Artistic, and that's all.
So some hockey-themed art.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, obviously, it's going to be incredible. The artists that are putting in bids for it are definitely amongst the best in WA. And I come from more of a perspective of the practicality side and the hockey community side. So there's a whole committee of us. It's not just me. So, but don't criticize me if you hate the artwork.
Oh, well, I mean, I think art has not always been a painting, but surely we're going to get a massive steel lady to go with the massive.
I know,
right?
And they hold hands.
Yes, that makes sense, right?
Totally, yeah.
And of course, if you haven't seen PHS Turf 2, the resurfacing is complete and is now laid with the 2026 World Cup turf. So a great opportunity for the Kookaburras and the Hockey-roos to prepare on that turf specifically for when they go over to the World Cup.
Yeah, it's always an exciting time, but naturally a few teething issues when you first get on a fresh pitch and you blame the pitch for not being able to track suddenly.
Yes, or feeling more tired. I trained last week on there and I felt more sore.
Oh, your feet are so sore, I reckon. Yeah, it's not a placebo effect. And obviously, Hockey Australia also named their coaches of the national indoor teams, with former men's coach in Brett Harrington to coach the women's side and Jonathan Stebbings to coach the men's side, with Matthew Hotchkiss named men's assistant coach. So women's only going with the one coach.
Yeah, well, Matty Hotchkiss is a stalwart of indoor hockey. He could probably assistant coach both teams to be.
Yeah, he probably will.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Suggestion there. And the Hockey-roos, they've announced their squad to go to Europe.
Yeah, very exciting. Obviously, some WA local or, let's say, connected players with Caitlin Nobbs, Lexi Pickering, Alicia Power, Courtney Schnell and Carrie Somerville, all playing obviously in the Thunder Six side for Hockey One, with hopefully Lexi Pickering making her debut. Yes. So I'm sure she's got some excited family members and friends and the UWA community back here eagerly watching. And obviously they will kick off their games on the 7th of June with matches in Amsterdam, followed by matches in London from Saturday the 14th of June, and then moving on to Berlin the 22nd of June. So that's kind of cool. They're heading into Germany. We haven't played there for a while.
Yeah, okay. That's going to be a big challenge. And I think Germany's quite a good place, it seems, to play in front of crowd-wise. So that'll be a nice little experience for the Hockey-roos. And last news item, the 2025 Trans-Tasman Masters competition, of course, Australia and New Zealand, has wrapped up. The Masters teams competed in 3 test matches against New Zealand, but from May 13 to 17 in Cairns. I think it was about 35. So I think it all went up to about 65.
Yeah, my dad was there, so it has to be at least in the near high 70s.
You can check out the results at masters.ltsrt.com. But congratulations to all of those that competed, and I'm just going to assume we beat New Zealand in all of the series. So
Surely,
yeah,
back us in.
Absolutely. Mailbag, Jane. We've got more mailbag questions, and we've got a few controversial ones this year. This episode, I should say. Let's start with number one. Let's just go from the top.
Wow, so original.
Well, I thought sometimes I pick and choose, but let's go with number one. Matt Dawson, former Kookaburra, playing with Vic Park now.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get a mention. I'm sure he'll get a mention later in the show. Who is your Smokey for both competitions? Now, this is a loaded question. I know Matt wants me to say Vic Park.
Yeah, of course he does, and of course you want to say that. Yeah, I know. And we kind of spoke a little bit before coming on air about this. And I think if you go off the ladder, which I think we should go off currently,
yes,
because there's some teams that are probably underperforming, but if you look at them in terms of game by game performance and what their potential is, in the girls' competition, Big Park are quite low on the ladder.
Yes.
So that would be actually quite a good bet if you're going to be a betting person. But in saying that, in the women's ladder, there's probably the middle 5 teams that are all on 10 to 12 or 13 points. And so I wouldn't hazard to guess that someone from that is going to inject themselves in that top 5 for pretty late in the season once, you get the ball rolling and everyone's been playing together for a little bit.
Yeah, I would say I probably agree with you. Vic Park and YM are probably the Smokies, just based on the current ladder. So women's side, men's side, I'm not sure. Look, Vic Park are a Smoky, but I've probably got more inside intel into that.
What's the potential of people coming back?
Yes, correct. Yeah, there's a lot of potential, but I don't think they're playing to their potential at the moment, and that'll improve, like you said, when people come back. I think Reds are the Smoky for me. We're probably, I mean, they are sitting 5th, so they are probably higher than what I would have expected them to be. But they've got some serious talent to come back. Blake Govers will be back later in the season. They've got Dill Martin, who's probably dominating through that midfield. Not sure on the Spruce Moose, Aaron Zalewski, whether he's going to come back to play, because I think that
fresh off a German season, ready, raring to go.
I'm sure him and Teagues will be back. So I'm sure he will play. So that's going to add massive value for them as well. So I think they could be the Smoky for me as well. Yeah,
no, that's very valid. I didn't really think about who's to come back in. You can't just look at the teams as they are. It's like maybe some unfortunate results.
Yes, it'll be
very valid.
It'll be fascinating. So Matt, I hope that answers your loaded question. Number 2 from Matthew London. Should there be a process for reviewing umpires like Premier Cricket with a captain's report?
Captains. So what happens at Premier Cricket today? The captain just get to slander.
Well, I would assume that they can provide feedback where how that's taken. I think more difficult for hockey to be able to do that because you probably less decisions in cricket. I mean, you're only thinking about someone out, let's say. So much more difficult in hockey. I would prefer not to have it. Because it opens up a pretty big can, and I think the umpires are doing a really good job, and we'd love to have more umpires, probably at the Premier League level, so that we can, have more that maybe filter down as well.
Yeah.
So I'd probably against it. However, we probably have to double check this. I'm not 100% sure, but I would like to know or see if we can have a umpire's coach, which I think it might be Sarah Allenson. I'm not 100% sure. Angela Edwards looks after it at Hockey WA, providing feedback to the umpires. So that'll in regards to decisions. So maybe the live stream game, maybe they're watching video. Yeah. Maybe that's an option to try and help improve the umpire. Because I'm assuming that's probably the line it's going down, is that?
Yeah, they definitely do review, and they get a scorecard especially if you're at national tournaments, under 21s, under 18s, Hockey One, you do get a scorecard, and they do review your performance and give you feedback about where your inadequacies are, where your strengths are, just like a field player. International level, I think there's probably more scope to support the training and development of umpires. I think we probably don't put enough time, effort, money into that, and therefore what can you expect as the outcome if they aren't really allowed to take it as a full-time job or even part-time job, and they've got a lot of personal outlay monetary-wise to be at tournaments? It's going to be hard to develop umpires. And so that comes from the grassroots level. If you can start supporting them and they're an athlete in their own right, that professionalizes it. You don't have to have these captain's reports or feedback systems, because they're getting that feedback system and it's a lot more thorough, and they have the resources to do it. So that's probably the approach I would go down.
Yep, I like that too. Look, we obviously don't know, so there's a very good chance that might be happening. But if not, I think that could be a way forward. Now, we've got our controversial one here, Jane, and of course, this person has chosen to remain anonymous. Do you think Tom Craig deserves selection for the Kookaburras for Europe? Controversial, obviously, because he was obviously banned based on what happened in Paris. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, he did the time, and for the crime he did.
Yep.
Was a crime. And so what else do you want? Like they've provided this ban, and he served the ban. And then he's now eligible for selection. Yep. It's just like any kind of integrity case in hockey. Once your ban finishes, you can't just then keep going, we won't select you because we just inherently disagreed with what you did. Yep. You served a ban. The ban was set in place, and it was actually set in place by Hockey Australia, not necessarily FIH.
Yep.
So that's really good on Hockey Australia's part, because potentially there was no ban if it was just set by FIH.
That's right.
So I think Hockey Australia did the harsher thing that potentially wouldn't have happened, and he served it. And what else do you want to happen, I guess?
Yep. I think I am in total agreement. I think he's still one of our best players. You're right. He got the ban, served it. I think he's eligible selection. Like, it's not his fault. He's doing what's been imposed on him. So I think, and I think he still adds value to the Kookaburras group. I think he's still under 30, Tom, from memory, off the top of my head. I think he's, be one of those more experienced players. I think he's going to be dynamic and dangerous. That's what we've always seen from Tom. It kind of what makes me think of straight away is Ben Cousins. So he got caught, 2008, I think it was, or 2007, I think it was. The AFL imposed the ban, and then obviously West Coast let him go. Wanted to go back, and Richmond gave him a shot, and he played a couple more years at Richmond. So I mean, same scenario as far as I'm concerned. So yes, Jane and I both agree, anonymous, that Tom deserves his selection for the Kookaburras. Question number 4, and there's a slight little dig at me in the end of this one. My question is in regard to the pools in the national championships, following on from your quarterfinal discussion format. With the recent under-21s men's semi-finalists all coming from one side of the pool, is there some sort of seeding of the pools? This is done in Europe and the like for the nations/clubs, but the underage chances, this is probably not consistent as players age out, and one year's performance isn't necessarily representative of the next year's set of players. George Watts, also keen to count how many times Jace says fantastic during the show. I'll get the guys to put on a counter as of now, and I'm going to show you that I'm not going to say it for the rest of the show. So thanks, George. We can probably get a counter from last week. I'm not sure how many times I've said it. Likely I've just said it once, and that's been the go-to. But I think we kind of talked about this, didn't we? In that after the pools, maybe it's you order it that way, and then you can so you're not just playing to finish on top or second or third. You're actually playing to potentially as a top 2 out of all states to maybe go straight to the semi-final.
Yeah.
I think that might be... So each game then becomes as important for the future, not just...
Yeah, it currently feels just quarterfinals are important. It doesn't matter how you get there.
Yep, correct. So hopefully that answers that for you, George. But thank you for your question, and thank you for the slight dig at my vernacular. And we've got a first-time listener. sending us a question. What do you think about the new young players who debuted in Premier Ones this year? Any specific mentions, men's and women's? Now, you may have a few in your team.
Yeah, we do. Well, especially once 21s went away, we got pretty dry there. And we were unfortunately relying on our 16-year-olds, which, some people would argue is too young to be at Premier League. I would say go play in the Adelaide competition. You'll probably play across a few of 16-year-olds. And I think it helps their development to play with and against some more experienced players. But we've had a few in our grade. We've got Peyton Ritchie, who's come up through the ranks and part of the illustrious Ritchie family in Reds. We've got, I think it's mainly come from the junior ranks, obviously. And they're making really good transitions across. They're really strong on the ball. They're obviously adjusting to the speed of the game and how to adjust to decision-making quickly.
Yep.
But naturally, I think that's a really easy fix and you gradually develop it over the weeks. So that's, one person from our club that's debuted this year and is really holding her own, playing across, I think, every single line, which naturally have to do, unfortunately, as a utility junior player.
100%. With the men, a bit hard to know all the debutants, I would say. But look, the Mods Guildford guys would have a few, and look, they're trying to do their best. One person who we haven't mentioned during the podcast this year, not quite a debutant, but I think someone who is going to seriously put their stamp on Australian hockey is Zed Kernan from Wasps.
Yep.
Played at the recent under-21s. I think he's only 18. Huge, like taller than me and you probably together.
Yep.
But a serious talent. I think he may be earmarked for under-21s potentially.
Yeah.
Obviously with the Junior World Cup at the end of the year. But that's the one I'm thinking of. The top of my head.
It's so hard to be across everything. Let's just put that out to the listeners. It's not intentional that we are not super well informed about everyone that debuts across clubs, and happy for people to write in and do a
please
list.
tell us.
Right?
Yes, 100%.
And we can do our research and pay more attention, because obviously Jason and I commentate as well. So
yes, 100%.
We do watch a lot of games.
We do, and we'd love to know more people debuting. We obviously see the milestones, but sometimes it is difficult to catch all the debutants. So hopefully we can get that sent in by anyone that's got a debutant, because we'd love to keep an eye on them. But they're probably the specific mentions we've got for the new young players. It's such a hard year to be a young player.
Yeah, it's so competitive.
Yeah, straight after Olympic year. So you've got ex-Hockeyroos, Kookaburras playing in the competition. You've got the imports.
Yeah.
You've got the current Kookaburras and Hockeyroos. It's very difficult to be probably, 16 to even 19, I would say, playing in this competition because of the influx of talent. So those that are probably at the right club to be able to do it. And are doing as well as they can, I suppose. And we've probably seen that with Mods and their youthful group trying to facilitate everything that's going on.
Exactly.
All right, Jane, time to wrap up the Stiles Electrical Premier League from the weekend just gone. And we're going to start on Saturday with a huge victory for Lions at UWA against UWA, 2-1. Maria Gustavino and Georgina Dowd, the goal scorers. Courtney Chanel on the board for UWA. This is a really good win. Even just having a look at the two teams on the Altius here. Yeah,
I know. And we obviously just talked to G just before, and we mentioned her and Gustavino being Lions' really striking force. And I think a lot of teams will start zoning in on those two and trying to eliminate them as the threat. But exciting for Lions. They would have gone into this knowing it was a tough battle.
Yeah, 100%. Always hard winning at uni, but geez, it always feels good, doesn't it? You love just winning at uni, and that's a huge win for Lions to keep themselves quite high on the ladder. Jane, your game
Oh,
you nullified the Kershaw effect.
I know. I wanted you to be in the stand so I could rub it in.
2 goals to 1.
Motivating factor to me winning is Jace betting against us.
KO Miata on the scoreboard for Was and a double to Abby Davies. Tell us, was it as tight as the scoreboard suggests?
It was a good tussle. I thought quite good quality hockey. I think both teams had their opportunities. Again, we probably missed some opportunities early in the game that we should have executed. It's becoming a bit of a theme for us. But, we kind of wrestled back on top and scored late to release the deadlock, and then just held on for dear life in that last 3 minutes where you're just near the flag and you're hoping that Kirsch doesn't come anywhere near the ball.
Did you mark it? Did you try to
No. We had two of our junior players doing.
Oh, right.
And they took it really seriously. They really followed her around until she kind of navigated away from different positions, and then they got a bit confused.
Oh wow, that's the way to nullify a tag, the old-fashioned tag. I like that. Well, let's go to Saturday evening's game, and it was in the Eastern Goldfields at the Goldfields Festival of Hockey. YMCC defeating Whitford's 3-0. I was lucky enough to call this one. Pippa Bairstow, Shoko Kanafuji and Charlotte Keogh with a ripper on the baseline, winning this one. It seemed that YM had control of this game from most of the start, and Whitford's, there were some opportunities, but I think some of the younger talent still working their way through different scenarios, and obviously having to get around Maddie Fitzpatrick is no mean feat, even for the most experienced player. So still working their way through getting their first victory is Whitford's, but there's some encouraging signs there. And for me, Hayley Carter, obviously used to be Hayley Paget. She is a real key for YMCC. She was very, very good, probably my best on ground. So, fascinating to see how they go if Hayley is either away or nullified. So, be fascinating. Be very fascinating.
That's a hot tip to all future teams.
Well, absolutely. And then we go to Sunday. 4-2 saw Vic Park defeat Raiders. Goals to Carrie Somerville, Beatrice Monga-Maloney, Ruby Williams, and Kayla O'Sullivan. And for Raiders, it was Keisha Poole and Maddie Daly. Pretty comfortable there for Vic Park?
Yeah, I obviously wasn't there. Were you?
No, I didn't get out to that one.
No. Obviously, Vic Park not with their full strength lineup. But yeah, good nonetheless. They obviously had Carrie out there, and then Georgia Hisson's back from 21. So, they doing well. But they seem to still be quite far down on the ladder, even though it doesn't really reflect the team they are. So
I agree. And then the last game of the round was an absolute ripper, 2-2 out at the Melville Toyota Hockey Stadium. Melville and Hale, 2 goals to Hannah Carmody, and then Claire Colwell and Mariah Williams getting on the board for Hale. This is just, again, impressive from Melville.
Yeah, and we have flagged the last few weeks as they've built into the hockey season, and they're building their connections and their way of play, that defensively they're really, really hard to get past. But I think adding into that mix when they have Maddie Smith and Abby Wilson back, that creates more of their attacking opportunity, because obviously the overhead threat, and then Abby Wilson, and both of them really being penalty corner threats.
Yep.
So we're not completely shocked, but we probably would have tipped Hale to get over the line. Yeah,
I think we did. So huge game to round out the weekend. Wolves with their bye still sitting on top. Lions in second on 20 points. Hale 17, and then UWA and Reds on 13 apiece. Georgina Dowd and Maddie Radcliffe leading the Jackie Pereira leading goal scorer on 11 goals apiece. Let's have a look at this weekend's fixtures before we go into a weekend off. So Wasps and Whitfords to start us off on Friday night. We'll be commentating that one, Jane.
Yes, we will. You'll hear our lovely voices.
If you're not sick of them already.
Depends if they employ the new tactic of just marking Kershaw the whole game. But I think, the Wasps have widespread. Like there's not only Kershaw, there's obviously Caitlin Nobbs,
Yes, of
there's
course.
Morgan Matheson. They've got Japanese import. They've got quite a decent team, so I think they'll be okay.
Plus for me as well. This will be a fascinating game. YMCC going to the Perth Hockey Stadium against Vic Park. Big one for Vic Park, I think, this one. They need to win this, I think.
It'll be interesting if they have Leash Power or Tony Cronk can go, because obviously YM have that drag flicking threat in Maddie Fitz, and then wonder if they employ your coaching advice and do a little tag on Hayley Carter as well.
Yes, that'll be. I just don't think you can tag a Hayley Carter. I mean, you try to do it to Steph, and she's still got away.
No, the speed of Steph is just.
It'll be a very important game for Vic Park. Well, for both teams, in fact, but Vic Park really need to have a win to try and shoot themselves back up the ladder. Melville and UWA at Melville Toyota Stadium. With the results of the weekend, this is also a fascinating game.
Yeah. I think it will be close. UWA, obviously, they've got a quality team, but something's happening that's not allowing them to obviously convert that into a goal.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think, and Melville are hard to score against.
I think Melville win this.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them too.
All right.
Maybe we both jinx them, so maybe I'll go for UWA.
Okay. All right. Well, one of us will be right there.
It's fine.
The Reds girls taking on Hale would probably see this as a big opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. We're also in that kind of unsteady ground in the middle of the table where you want to create a bit of distance between the bottom 5, top 5 situation. So, yeah, for us, we need some points out of it. I'm sure they all think the same way as well. So,
and the last game of the round is where was it? Raiders and Wolves.
Yep.
Wolves, I think, should come off the bye and comfortably win this one.
Yeah, I would suspect as such.
Let's head over to the men's side of the competition, and we started on Friday night, I think it was, Freo and Westside Wolves, and a tight game, 4-3 to Freo. Had to come from 3-1 down, but still got the job done. Erin Hazel, Jack Welsh, Ben O'Grady, and Harrison Banyard on the scoreboard for Freo. Tom Keating, Fletcher Netherway, and Lockie Kane on the scoreboard for Wolves. They just keep finding a way, Freo.
Yeah, I think they went into half-time and their coach said something. Well, Wolves either gone, yep, we've packed up, let's get on the bus, we're leaving.
Fantastic result for them. Well done to Freo, and just keep on keeping on. We go to Saturday, and a 5-2 victory for Reds over Wasps. 3-2 at half-time, and 2 goals in the fourth quarter broke it away. Dan Rainey and Freddie Britt on the scoreboard for Wasps. And for Reds, Adrian Lockley, Andrew Folds, Adrian Lockley with a double, Andrew Folds, Zach Rackus and James Cameron on the scoreboard.
Good match. I obviously watched whilst I was warming up, but again, didn't probably think it was a 5-2 match. It was very end to end, both teams having a lot of opportunities, but the Reds boys did really well to put away their opportunities. So
it's not sure where Wasps are at the moment. I probably picked them to be a bit better at this point in the season, but Reds, I think I just said they're probably the Smokey and winning games that necessarily wouldn't think they would. So we go to Saturday evening, 8-0, the victory for UWA over Mods Old Guildford. Lockie Buzzico on the scoreboard, I think in his 100th game for UWA, so well done, Lockie. The big dog with a double, Chavi Gisper with a single, Frank Main with a double, Tom Wickham and Jackson Geddes with singles each. I don't think we need to dive too much into that one. In the Goldfields, the men's game, 5-1 was the score for YMCC over Whitford's. Whitford's started really well. Fraser Hayne with a penalty corner. And then YM got one late in the first half through an absolute rocket from Cooper Burns. He put it over the keeper's left shoulder, penalty corner. So 1-1 at halftime, and then it was all...
Made them go a bit panicky.
Yes, I think it did. And then they turned it on in the third quarter with goals to Jacob Anderson, Luke Blee, and then goals in the final quarter to Cooper Burns and Luke Blee. And they sealed the match. But there was some exciting stuff for Whitford's there. Yeah, they just couldn't hold on to what they were doing. Anand Gupti was really good, but I think Fraser Hay fell away after the first quarter, and they just lost a bit of drive, unfortunately. But he was causing a fair bit of trouble for YMCC.
Okay.
But then they found their groove and were able to put some good goals away in the second half and win that one comfortably. We go to Melville and Hale, and this is an absolute ripper, littered with cards. Hale opened the scoring through Liam Flynn in the 5th minute, and then it wasn't until James Day showed his drag-flicking prowess in the 48th to get a 1-1 draw, but there were four greens and 2 yellows for each team.
Wow.
And Trent Potter getting one in the 57th minute, which I can only just picture Craig Wilson on the sideline because that would have made it super, super tight.
Yeah. And I think potentially you even said it could have been a draw, but yeah, it was obviously Hale being back to full numbers and Melville being very competitive and having a lot of goal scoring threats. So would have been exciting to watch, at least as a fan.
Yeah, watching blokes sit on the bench.
Just playing reduced numbered hockey. You did want the drop offs. So.
Yes, there. Yep. Yeah, I did ask for that. And then the final game of the round, Vic Park defeating Raiders 4-1. Nathan Oldfield on the scoreboard for Raiders. Harley Muir, Lawson Patton-Williams, and a double to Dane Richards for Vic Park. 10 penalty corners to 1. That's probably a concern for Vic Park, not being able to execute from that.
But it can get more and more frustrating. You try and do some crazy things to try.
Just stick it in the goal.
Yeah.
Well, we go to the ladder. Freo, 2 points clear of UWA and YMCC, who are second and third. Melville on 17, Reds on 16, and that rounds out the top 5. Cooper Burns, with his double on the weekend, sits on top on 16 goals. Let's have a quick look at the upcoming fixtures, Jane. I think it's going to start Friday night with Wasps and Whitfords.
Yep, I would suspect Wasps, but Whitfords, they performed well for the first half against YM on the weekend, so it'll be hard. But I think Wasps will have the legs in them for the later end of the game.
This is danger for Wasps for me because they did draw with Raiders.
Yeah.
But that might be a lesson that I'm sure
always hope
Transmitten would be sharing. So I think Wasps win for me as well. Freo and Mods Old Guildford. I think Freo for both of us there. YMCC and Vic Park. This is a big game again. Will be a cracker at the Perth Hockey Stadium. Vic Park wanting to get points to push themselves into the 5. YMCC a little bit vulnerable, but the weapon of they didn't have Liam Henderson on the weekend either.
Okay.
So and no Tyler Lovell.
Yeah, I feel like the Kalgoorlie location probably limited some people's travel capacity, but yeah, it will be tight. But
I think Liam Henderson adds plenty.
Yeah.
To that group.
Yeah.
They did play off in a preseason game. I think it was a draw from memory. I can't remember. Maybe Vic Park won. But they were pretty full. Both teams were pretty full strength that day as well.
Yeah.
It might have just been Ben White for Vic Park who wasn't playing that game.
Okay.
Look, I've been obviously going
to
Park in, but who are you picking?
I feel like it will go to YM by like 1 goal, or it will be a draw.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah,
okay. That's fair. Melville and UWA. This is another ripper at the Melville Toyota Stadium. I think Melville might win this.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I just think they're.
I like how Melville play. I've commentated them a few times now. They've got a very good team game. So
yeah, I think they've just found a little groove. Although UWA are just littered with stars.
Yeah,
so
they are, and then they're very physical brand of hockey. So maybe a few more people having breaks.
It'll be a fascinating game to watch. One for the spectators. North Coast Raiders and Wolves at the Troy Pickard Hockey Centre. Wolves should win this.
Yeah,
they should. And then Reds and Hale at Aquinas College.
It'll be competitive, that's for sure. And obviously, Reds finding their groove. They've got some great attacking threats, but Hale, they've got all their players back full strength side. Performed quite well on the weekend. So, yeah, it will be a tight match again. I obviously back the Reds boys in.
I think Reds can win this. Yeah, I
They've
think,
got enough threats out there
yeah,
to warrant a win, but yeah.
I think Reds as well. Well, that wraps up the fixtures coming up and the wrap of the Stiles Electrical Premier League. Hockey WA is thrilled to have the continued support of Stiles Electrical Services as the naming rights sponsor of the 2025 Premier League men's and women's competitions. With over 25 years of experience in sports lighting, Stiles Electrical Services is committed to supporting hockey's growth in WA by assisting clubs with floodlighting upgrades and strengthening pathways for athlete development. Their ongoing support will help enhance one of the world's strongest domestic hockey competitions, and we cannot thank them enough for their support. Visit stileselectrical.com.au to find out more about Stiles Electrical and how they can help your club. All right, Jane, well, time to talk to the players from the Stiles Electrical Premier League, and we'll revert back to the ladies this week. And on this week's show, we've got currently one of the equal top leading goal scorers in the competition from Suburban Lions. We've got Georgina Dowd. Welcome to the show, G.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you back. You are a part of the Hockey Hour family. You've been on many a time before, so thank you so much for giving us your time again. What a great win on the weekend. Tell us about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was an important one for us to win. I think those points against UW are always highly valued. But yeah, we were super excited to go out and play and hopefully play the good quality hockey that we've been really focusing on developing the last few weeks. But yeah, we've just really wanted to continue to capitalize in the circle. That's been something we were struggling with at the start of the season. So it was good to get a couple against them on the weekend. But yeah, I mean, it was a really physical game. What you expect going against UW. There's definitely some few heavy knocks. Both teams. It was a good fight. Everyone fought for every single ball. There was no freebies. So it was a really good challenge for us to step up against them and to get the win. And I mean, we had some individuals really step up, especially defensively. We had B in our defensive circle making some absolutely crucial intercepts that we might have been in a bit of trouble without her there. And Caitlin in goals made some absolutely insane saves. So it was a really fun game of hockey to be a part of, actually.
Yeah, we said last week when we were doing our little predictions, and I kind of flagged you guys as probably beating Uni because you've got some nice striking force up front in yourself, obviously, and then obviously your new Argentinian import. She caused us a lot of trouble when we were playing you.
Yep.
Great, obviously, ball carrying skills, but happy to pull the trigger in the circle. And I think, going forward, Uni will probably struggle with that type of aggression. If you can have it. So, yeah, I was glad to see my tipping when in my favour this time because Jace normally smashes me. But in terms of, you kind of touched on the start of this year and that you've been slowly developing that attacking circle connection. How has the start of the season been and what's your kind of expectations leading into this second half of the season?
Yeah, well, like I said, we were struggling to kind of capitalise in the circle and weren't really getting the results for our hard work getting the ball up the field. But there was just a little bit of hesitancy and still figuring out connections between our lines. But we've just been building that confidence and learning to trust in the game plan. We have some new players, so it's been just an interesting first few rounds to try and get the feel for how those guys play and their playing styles. But it's been really exciting to see the different styles of hockey and different players that we've got this year that have slowly started finding their own place in the team. And we've just been working on building those relationships on the field and feel like we're definitely building some momentum now. So looking forward to coming back strong after the break, that's for sure.
Yeah, nice little buy you have at the moment. And I know you're away at the moment. We certainly appreciate your time. Do you feel the league is a tighter competition this year versus last year?
Yeah, I think it feels like it. I mean, every team has a pretty decent side that they're able to put forward each week, regardless of if they've got ins and outs. And obviously the Aussies and the imports thrown in the mix this year, everyone's got a few additions to their regular side. So it's been really exciting to come around each week and there's an opposition that's willing to challenge you and fight for the 3 points to the end of the game. So I'm loving that most fixtures, like you guys do your bets each week, but I think most fixtures you can see the results going either way. And it's exciting. I think that there might be a little bit of pressure on some of those teams and clubs that have always been in the top of the ladder to step up and meet some teams that are really putting some pressure on their positions.
Yeah, and I just had a look at your scores for the year. Most of your wins have been really tight wins, and then you've got obviously the couple of draws in there. So do you feel that's going to be really beneficial when it comes finals time? Because I feel like in the last couple of years, when you've pushed through finals, that's what you guys have done. You've just won tight games and done that really well. Or is that like a core part of your, your group's, going forward?
Yeah, well, I think we've always really embraced kind of being that underdog team and coming through, and over the last few years really kind of stepping up our place on the ladder. And obviously we were playing promo. I wasn't around, but playing promo like 6-7 years ago, whatever it was, and the girls getting relegated and then promoted again. And it's been always been something that the girls have been really fighting to prove that we can compete with those teams that are consistent year in, year out, and we're willing to fight in those games that get scrappy, and finals are a completely different ball game altogether. So we really embrace that thrill, that challenge. So it's always nice to be in those positions where you're in a tight game and it's fighting to the very last minute of the fourth quarter to try and put another one in the goal.
Yeah, definitely puts you in good stead for going into those finals games. Obviously, Jace mentioned before that you're drawing top of the ladder for highest goal scorer. For those out there, myself included, who want to score more goals, but maybe that's not their forte, or a young kid that's listening and they're wanting to be a striker and obviously idolise yourself in the WA scene. What tips could you give, or what do you focus on when you're at training? How do you go about it?
I think the thing that's probably got myself in the best place this year, I've just really focused on loving my hockey and going into each training session really embracing I'm able to come to train. I'm going to love training with the girls that I'm here with. We've got a really good culture, so it's always a really enjoyable environment. And I think just taking that pressure off myself, I think the last few years of kind of developing and playing at slightly higher levels, I think I put myself under a lot of pressure. So this off season, I really took a step back, and I've been trying to balance full-time work and things. So it's just a matter of enjoying life outside of hockey as well, and really trying to find that balance. And I think that's what's allowed me to play really freely this year, has been just being happy with the girls I'm playing alongside, happy with my life outside of hockey. And I think being in a team environment where you're allowed to take chances, I'm taking those chances because I feel like I'm in a team who wants me to take those chances and will support me in the moments when it doesn't work out, which I think it's a very lucky position to be in. I know there's plenty of people who have probably put themselves under a lot of pressure, especially up front, I need to score goals. I need to get one up on the board for my team. But I think I'm in a really lucky position where I know I've got a great team behind me, that I'm able to try those things, and I'm able to play really fluid and really adaptive. And that's the kind of hockey where I find I play my best. I think as strikers, we're really lucky that we can often get a little bit of freedom in our playing style up front. So I'd just say my best tip is just play with creativity, build relationships within your team so that you know you've got that backup, and know that your teammates will step up and support behind you, but also build those relationships where they know that if you mess up front, you're running back to help them just as hard.
Yeah.
Great answer. Yeah, love that, G. I think it's something that does get lost when you're playing, and I can definitely attest to, as a striker, you do want to score goals, and I kind of liken it to quicksand. The harder you try sometimes, the deeper you get in it, and then you put yourself under more pressure. So I think that's a great message to to anyone. Young striker coming up, current striker, Jane.
Yeah,
Just back yourself in.
veterans going into veterans.
Yes, back yourself in. Back yourself in. Just enjoy your hockey. People will be happy if you just have a shot at goal. No, thank you, G. You've got the bye. How do you feel about the bye?
Good. I think the team's really keen to have a couple of weeks of rest. There's definitely some sore bodies rolling up to training each week. That's for sure. I think there's been a couple of weeks where Lindsay's explained that we're doing running before training. Everyone, like, right, okay, here we go, girls. But it's that environment where we're all behind each other and everyone's in the same boat with soreness and managing injuries and stuff. So we know that if we're there to train, but we appreciate the breaks are coming at a good time for everyone's bodies to reset a little bit and rest.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, G. Enjoy the 2 weeks away from hockey.
I'll do.
We very much appreciate you coming on the show and giving us the insight into the Suburban Lions girls, who are currently sitting second on the ladder. All the best for the rest of the season, and I'm sure we'll be talking about you and the girls come finals time.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for chatting.
Now, Jane, like we said at the top of the show, the Dugout segment this week is a huge one. We've got an international guest on the show. He is one of the best coaches going around at the moment and is currently the coach of the Spanish national men's team. We have got Max Caldas on the show. Max, welcome to the Hockey Hour.
Hello, guys. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being on. And a quick shout out to Matt Dawson. He did help get you onto the show for us. So appreciate your time. I wanted to firstly let everyone know that you have played hockey in Australia. You were a part of the New South Wales Warriors in the 97 National Hockey League, where they won the tournament for the first time. Do you remember that?
Glow the blues. Glow the blues. Yes, I did.
He bleeds blue,
Yes,
as
I
they
did.
say.
I'm very blue. Don't worry about it. Very blue.
I actually have found, the only reason I know that, I found a video on YouTube of the game against the Perth Thundersticks. I'll share it with you after if you have not seen it again since.
No, I have not seen it again since. I remember actually when we played Perth in Perth during the round games, I got smashed in the head with a ball. Greg Corbett. You see the ball. I think I was 5 minutes away, and it just was lucky just to turn and actually smash my head. But I played the game too, looking like the Elephant Man and just trying to survive. And actually, I think actually I did it a tough way, but it was just a great experience, great time. I mean, when we went back now in Sydney to play Pro League, so a lot of guys I played with and now parents and their kids and the rest. It was just, for me, absolutely beautiful just to actually go back there again.
Oh, fantastic,
awesome.
Fantastic. Well, I will send you that video, but
Please do.
I will, when we get our guests on the show, we try to break the ice a little bit, and we like to know what their coffee order is. What's your coffee order in Spain?
Well, I was born in Argentina, so mates for me, they go to once a day. But if I have to drink coffee, cortado. Now that I live in Spain, it's like cortado is the way to go. And Spain is very interesting, but they drink the coffee in the summer with ice, so like hot coffee with a block of ice.
Oh.
You just drop the coffee on that ice cube, and it's very, very nice, I can tell you.
Oh, lovely. We're going to have to do that when we get over, that's for sure.
Whenever we've been in Argentina, Spain, a cortado is my go-to as well. Whenever you go, it's a nice little drop over there. So obviously you had an extensive international career as a player. Was it always your goal post-international career to get into coaching, or was there something else in your mind?
Well, I studied foreign affairs. I got a degree there, and I never set one foot in anything that had to do with that at all in my life. But I just finished the study. Doing coaching, Jane, because I just didn't want to ask my parents for pocket money to go with my friends. You know what I mean? It's just a way of actually giving back from young age to the club. I started doing it when I was 17 with the little minis, helping out. and that was back home. Where you can actually earn some good pocket money to support yourself, let's say that, and still live at home and study and the rest. And that was pretty much the whole idea to start with. And then I had the chance and the privilege of having a lot of really good mentors at the club that through their the example of how they went about things and how they loved coaching and how they just wanted to actually help kids get better. I always had the bug in me from a very young age, and I think when I got into Australia and I actually heard for the first time of level 1, level 2, level 3 courses, and that the bug really hit. This is like a normal job, like it was always like a hobby, and I think when I lived in Australia, that was the first realization that actually this is something that I would like to do.
Oh, awesome. That's so good. You started, obviously you did some coaching in Holland and then moved into the women's national program and then the men's national program.
Yeah.
Now with Spain, how would you describe your coaching style?
More and more about the people, about the people behind the player. That's really mattered to me, men or women. I think sometimes the preconceptions about that the men are tough and the women are soft, or they're bitchy, or they're hold things back. I think that's just crap. I think when I went from the women's side to the men's side, I missed the girls every single day for the first year. I could not believe the level of complaining that the boys did with regards to the girls, and the desire and drive to get better. That team of girls was just amazing, and also a lot of fun to be around with. So with me, I think the critical thing nowadays is just it's not about X and O's. Of course, it's a part of it, but it's a small part of it. I think it's about being able to support players, challenge them, create an environment where they can actually be themselves. And if you choose them because of what they're good at, just coach them there first. Try to make them even better as they go along, because the lesser things, so to speak, they're going to come along because the good ones are going to get even better, and you're going to reach new heights. And I think I'm much more aware now that I'm 52 that all those PowerPoints that I did when I was 17, 18, 20, or 30. They're all right, but I think my mum can still do it now, and she's nearly 80, and that's not the X factor for a coach with their players, and it's just to empower them as much as I can and make them a part of everything that we do. And I think that when they do, that gives me energy. And one of the things I heard in a podcast last week is the hugging syndrome. If we go back and you meet people again that you have not seen for some time, so they hug you, to actually walk past you, and the amount of hugs that you get, I think it's a good indication of the job that you did with those people and those players. And I think I'm guiding myself now through life through the hug system and see how that goes. And so far, it's going very well.
I love that. Yeah, that's a great ideology. And yeah, I think it probably runs true. People want physical contact with people they trust. And so that probably runs true with yourself. And obviously you've coached between countries. So sort of you applied your international relations degree here in terms of you went from Holland to Spain. Has there been some main differences between coaching different countries?
Yeah, I think that's why another reason why you cannot replicate your 4-4-2, 4-3-3 discussion if you coach in Australia and you coach in Spain, because I think the environment does have an impact in what you do and who you are and how things are being done and told. And you cannot be oblivious to that context, that environment. And I think the big difference with Spanish hockey and Dutch hockey are the numbers. That's just for starters. We got here in Spain 15,000 registered players, and in Holland it's about 300,000. That in itself is a big difference, because it's a bigger mass of people who thinks they know what they do and tell you how they need to be done in Holland, press and things like that. And in Spain, you're going to go quietly about your work and about your day, and that part of it is it's very different. I'm much more at ease with myself here in Spain than I was in the last years in Holland. That's obviously my fault first. But I had the chance now to understand a bigger country in Holland. If you play the national team within an hour, you're back home in your own bed. And here, if you want to go and watch a club hockey game to Bilbao, it's an hour and a half flight, and sometimes there's no flight back. So you stay at one night extra, because if you're there the next day, you just go and watch something else, and you make yourself available for the people in Spain, just to be close to them and just be ready for a chat and conversation. Just actually get to know more than only your players. So distance is a big issue. Money, of course, is a big issue. Budget-wise, it's very different. But you need to be creative about those things. Just don't complain about them. So I think also, even though I can speak Dutch pretty okay, communicating in my own language, it's also a bit of a challenge, because I cannot find the right word to say, because I still think in Dutch in my head. But it's much more easier to relate to them, because that's raw emotion, something that I do have. So it's nice to feel that as well.
Oh, I love that. That's gives a good insight to our listeners that, even in the same continent, hockey is very different, and from all different levels, so which is fantastic. Now, I was going to ask you about your approach to coaching men and women, but I think you kind of answered that to us. But let's flip it and say, if you were coaching the Kookaburras or the Hockeyroos, would you lean upon Australia's, I suppose, notoriously physical style of hockey and how we've approached it that way, in the fast-paced sort of style, or would you look to bring more of the European flavour into coaching one of the two national teams here in Australia?
I think that in the end the world has changed. It's much more global for everyone for the last 10, 20 years. Kids nowadays grow up with a lot of YouTube videos and different dopamine injections in their phones and apps and the rest. And they create for themselves a much bigger, wider vision about what hockey is like through what they watch on the tablets and phones and the rest and whatnot. I think that when I was in Australia, living in 95 to 2000, I think the style was a style, and the world was much smaller, within yourselves. I think Aussies also always, the coaches were very creative just to actually get the most out of what they had with what they had around them. Their interactions with other coaches, other sports, what they take out of Aussie rules, what they take out of S&C and other sports. I think that I always find that fascinating, how open they are to other people and other sports and other inputs, just to make their job even better. Nowadays, I think because what I said before, because the kids have a different understanding of international sport, it's much more of a mix. Still, who you are is who you are. I think the further away, from that base, I think you're not going to be able to perform at your best. And I think Aussie teams are always known for their physicality, speed, strength. Never, if they beat you 6-0 and they can beat you 8-0, they will go for the 8-0. While the European team will go like, it's okay now. Let's go have a break. Let's relax now. And they will do it also with a smile on their faces, and they will actually be very, very upfront. So I think sport in Australia is played like that. So why change? The thing is, I think here and there tweaks to make your base even better, for sure. But I will not try to shy away from who you are as a nation, because that's what brought you here. And I think actually you guys have a very rich history in international hockey, and why jeopardize that to make you guys play like Germany? I don't see the benefit of it.
Yeah, very true, very true. And you feel most comfortable when you're doing things you know. So if you weren't in a coaching role right now, or tomorrow you decide that you want to move on to something else, what would that something else be?
It's very funny. This weekend I was in Antwerp watching the Belgium semi-finals, because we've got a couple of Spanish boys playing there, and they asked me this question quite a bit, so I think the people are trying to push me out of my job, I think. Yeah, I think I told them the whole nowadays I get also a bit of a kick with just coach the coaches
Yep.
for our 21s, 18s, and 16 coaches.
Mm.
You get a lot of positive vibe from doing that and just be there for them. And for example, we got over 2 weeks at the Final Four here. And on the third week, we got the Argys in Valencia with the Pro League, and we invited the 21s, 18s, and 16 coaches to be with us the whole week in the hotel,
That's cool.
working with us, working with our boys, because I want them to experience how we prepare, how we do things, the meetings, the games, the breaks, and the half times and things like that, debriefs from games and whatnot. And I think that part of it, Jane, the coach, like more the sport director kind of thing, to actually the bigger picture. It's something that actually really interests me. And where we are now, where do we need to be in 6 months, in 1 year, in 10 months' time? Where's that girl, that boy now? What are their options now? Where does he have to be in X amount of time? And to take care of that part of it, it's something that actually I do begin to like a bit more. But so far, the pitch work is very good to do.
I like that. Giving the experience to coaches at a lower level for the time being, and like a director of hockey or director of coaching type thing. I think is
like that. Yeah.
it's very a very common role within the Aussie rules system we have here. So it's
lovely sport.
It's cool. Yeah. I'm sure you would love it. Feel free to come back whenever you like.
It's for me. For me, it's the most similar sport to our sport. I know it sounds nuts and crazy, but here in Europe they compare hockey to football. You guys call it soccer, but let's be honest, it's football.
Yes.
A lot. And the other thing that we have in common, I think, is just like a roughly same pitch, the same amount of players on the pitch. But I think that the comparisons stop there, and I think Aussie rules is much more similar to our sport in dynamic, speed of the ball movement, up and down, the way that we defend, the way that we attack. It's there's a lot of things to get out of Aussie rules towards our sport. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Last question before we let you go, and now feel free to protect this as much as possible because I know you're a current coach in the international system. But what would you like to see in the game as it starts to evolve over the next 5 to 10 years?
One thing that I saw in Belgium this weekend, I haven't seen it also in the EHL quite a bit. I think the trend, I think that we discussed even with the coaches post Paris and the call with the FIH, we're scoring lesser goals than 4 years ago. I think not only the EC defense, but also defense in general, it's getting better and better and better. And I watched semis in Belgium, which I really love watching. But those ultra low zones with, let's say, 10 players in your own 23, nearly you're 5 meters over your 23, and defend like that the whole game. Wow. Wow. I don't know how we're going to score more goals if that becomes the new normal. I think I'm going to be very critical and try to understand it properly. I think umpiring is still running behind the players, and I think it's a matter of provide them with a better structure to be able to be more prepared and full time, like in other sports they do. We don't help them out the right way. They come to a pro league in Australia and they arrive the night before the first game. They're like up to the ears, and teams are there for about a week just to acclimatise, and then they have to umpire 2 games in a row, and it's going to be for them for about 8 games, 10 games. So we don't help them from the FIH as we should, I think. And also from their side, I don't think they do enough for themselves to understand better how the game is being played nowadays. So it's a bit of a disconnect, I think, that we can actually do better. So those 2 things are the things that at this point in time are top of mind, that I think that we need to address to make our sport a bit more exciting and available. And just go back again to score more goals and reward skill, like really do reward skillful players, and I think we got plenty of them running around. So, how can we actually make our sport better from those two standpoints? I think it's one of the things I would like to address.
Yeah, love it. I'm all for more goals. I'm all for that. I think makes the games more exciting, and I'm sure you've seen the Hockey One league here in Australia with the extra shootout attempt from a field goal, so that helps a little bit. So look, I think it's I think that's a really good way to try and get people watching the game, because when you're seeing a 6-5 or something like that, then people go, oh my god, like there's so many highlights. So that's brilliant, Max. We absolutely love it. We know you've got Pro League coming up again in a few weeks' time, so I'm sure you're madly preparing for that. And we are looking. I can tell you, we are looking after Chavi here in Perth at the UWA Hockey Club. He is, I'm sure, getting very, very well looked after.
That's your problem, not my problem. So good luck with that.
No, thank you so much for your time.
Very nice kid.
He is, yes.
Oh my word, he's out there.
Well, we love it. We're all for that over here.
I love him too. I love him to bits. So, wow.
No, he's at a good club at UWA, and of course, a good friend of yours, Paul Goodwin, coaching him there. But look, thank you so much for being available and for coming on our show.
No,
You're our first ever international guest, and hopefully we can make this an ongoing thing in the future to try and get you on and get your thoughts, and maybe have you here in Perth next time you're on holiday.
Yeah, I would love to do it. I think my body always feels very, very at ease when I go back to Australia. And for me now, going back to Sydney after 20 years that I left was just absolutely the highlight of the year for me already. So I love it there. My wife has not been there yet. My kids either. So
awesome.
It's about time that we go there for a holiday.
Yeah,
absolutely. We'd love to have you. Thank you so much. All the very best for Pro League coming up, and we'll be surely looking on with excitement as to what you do with the Spanish national team.
Thanks very much, guys. No worries. My pleasure.
Geez, Shane, how lucky are we to have someone like Max Caldas come on the show for us?
Oh, as I said at the top of the show, like starstruck, and we're almost like nervous to interview this big dog in coaching and having such an illustrious career. And I loved how much love he had for Australia.
Yes. Oh, how good it would be if we could have him as a coach here. Kookaburras Hockeyroos.
Reds.
We should get him in the Hockey One. Surely you should sign him up for the Hockey One.
Fire. I believe have an advert out.
Max, if you're listening, Jane's on the recruitment path. Well, let's tie in our extra time this week to what he was talking about. Obviously, with what he was wanting from the involvement of the game and more goals. Let's talk about. He kind of alluded to having heaps of players in the 23 for the whole game and defending like that. So, well, let's talk about this week as our extra time topic. Is what if you had to have specific players in specific zones? So. Probably not to the extent netball has, with like really segregated. Maybe you have to keep one player in your attacking half all the time. Maybe, I guess I think you were just mentioning off air that you got to think about it from an umpiring point of view as well. Maybe it's one player in the minimum of one player in the attacking half and minimum of two in your defensive, like, third, like the third, the closest half. Not
before you enter the 25.
Yes, correct. Maybe because that's easier for the non-officiating umpire to look for, right?
Oh yeah, because there's people standing by themselves rather than a pack. Yeah, I would say, and it would open up space in the circle. I think that's what the idea around it is, to create more goal shot opportunities in space. It's a hard one. It would be a long teething period.
I don't think you could have like you're only allowed a certain number of players in the circle. That's probably too hard.
No, it would be, you have to be in quarters, I reckon. You'd break it up like that. And you'd have to choose the quarters that naturally wouldn't have that many players in them anyway. But I think, definitely the defensive 25s, if you can only have, like, you have to have two of your strikers or whatever player you want to call them outside of the 25, would allow like something like a long corner. They suddenly, okay, we'll just press. You can't transfer the ball. You have to go in.
Yeah.
Hard one.
Do you think part of the problem is the actual attacking team like flooding the circle as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. Like everyone's getting in the way. Like you're suddenly just all cramped up and you can't really do those like nice kind of hook leads or fades. And it does help with like blocking leads, I find. Like you can use other people's defenders to just make them run into each other. But it does make it a bit more hectic. And then corners are probably more likely outcome because of the congestion. So
it's I guess it's the 5 of dice theory with, you know, 2 on the baseline, the spot, and then the 2 outside. That's the kind of the theory you're going for. But I guess we have so many overlapping halfbacks now, and they find themselves on the baseline. Like everybody wants to score, and I think, you know, PCs are great. But I think people are getting better at running PCs as well now. So I think to open, I agree. I think to open the space, maybe it is a case that the defending team can only have their halfbacks go to the 25 as well. Like maybe that opens it up a bit more too, or you also have to have 3 or 4 in that same zone. Maybe that's an option.
Yeah, we do need to start being more innovative because the reason why sports are doing 3-on-3 basketball and T20 cricket is because of the excitement and the goal scoring or point scoring or wicket taking potential in it. And so now that we've become really great defensively, we probably have to start putting on a show attackingly and make higher scoring lines. Because whenever you see, like as you said before, the 6-4 scoring line, you're like, oh, that game would have been great to watch.
100%.
So,
I think it probably comes back to, do you have less players on the field? The nine field players and a goalie. Like, I mean, we talked about it with drop-offs, but what if you just had 9 on 9? Like, you'd probably have more goals, and you would have more space. I mean, I think they're talking in the AFL at the moment about, do you need 18 players on the field? Like, you know, I think the way players are fitter, stronger, more anaerobically, fit as well.
And the quarters also play into that. You can really sustain a 6-minute period of high intensity rather than the 35-minute halves. You had to kind of be more controlled and calculated because you couldn't last. And then you would naturally see fatigue. So therefore you would see goal shot opportunities.
Yeah. Well, it's a fascinating one. Give us your thoughts when the pod comes out. Put it in a question if you'd like, or just, write in and tell us what you think. What could score, what would allow for more goals in hockey? We'd love to hear from you, but that's all for episode 7 of the show, and probably the biggest one in Hockey Hour history, with international guest and coach of the Spanish hockey team, Max Caldas. So lucky to have him be on board, and very, very lucky for us to be able to chat to him about his coaching exploits. But make sure you give us a like or a follow or whatever it is, wherever you watch the show. We love your feedback. We love your interaction. Keep dropping Jane DMs. She loves it.
I'll label you anonymous. I always do.
Make sure you get down to your local hockey stadium, support your Premier League or any of your hockey clubs, teams. We'll have more for you in a couple of weeks' time, Jane. We're going to take a little break whilst the Stiles Electrical Premier League is on a break. So we're going to take a couple of Mondays off and be back in 2 weeks' time. I think you are not.
Yeah, I'm doing a sabbatical to Switzerland for a week.
Jeez.
It's hockey related, so.
Okay, we'll allow. So we are going to have a guest host in, as chosen by Jane. So someone clearly who is not going to be as good as her, but can do the job. So don't forget, follow Hockey WA on Instagram and catch all the highlights from the show or any of the highlights from the streamed games over the weekend. Thank you again.
No, thank you, Jace. All the best with your hockey endeavours this weekend. Who are you playing?
We are YM as well.
Oh,
yes. Everyone's YM. So
Club day.
yeah, bit of a club day. Yeah. Saturday, don't mind it. Saturday afternoon. We'll take that.
Yeah, that's nice.
Take that. Yeah. Join in whenever you can. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time back on the Hockey Hour.